Yeah, you know it is. It's a gun report. Yes, I'm doing one. I haven't done one in a while. It's been a hot minute. And, hiya. Just in case you've never seen what this is a gun report. You never know what you're going to get. This is me giving my opinions and my thoughts on pro wrestling. A lot of times I'll botch. A lot of times I'll be dumb. And a lot of times I'll say something that you like. Or maybe not. It just depends on you. It's on you. It's on you. There used to be a poster. Have you ever seen Uncle Sam Wants You? In this case, I don't want you. I just want to say what I'm going to say. So, let me make this clear. I'm not talking about Vince. I'm going to see if I can do a separate video on him and what's happened in the case that's been halted. I'm saying again, Vince's case has been halted by the federal government because they decided to bring up more evidence, which we don't know what it is yet. So I will not be talking about Vince. There you go. And Becky Lynch. I've already spoke about Becky Lynch on my previous video on what I thought might be going on with her. So really, there's no real reason to elaborate on it, at least not yet. Because even though right now she is a free agent, literally, she can end up today on AEW. She can end up this Thursday. I'm not saying she can, because if they did it live, she could for TNA, MLW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling. She can go anywhere she wants. But as far as many people speculating, she just went home. Not saying anything more until there might be more information that will come out. So right now, she's been finished with the company since Saturday. That was the last day she was going to work. She's not working now. She's done. We don't know what's going to happen yet, so I will not be talking to her other than what I said. I do a lot of hand waving. Hiya. But this is what we got. Oh, excuse me. If I do this, it means my allergies are messing with me. We got a couple of things here to talk about. As you can see from my wonderful description, that seems like nuts. We got a little bit of Jensen in it. We got a little bit of TNA talk. And we got a little bit of two contracts signing. Well, contracts that are expiring. Not signings, but expiring. Let's go with Ricochet and Chad Gable. This summer, well, technically, the first one that's going to lose his contract will be Chad. It has not been renegotiated. It is no re-signing, not a new contract. Nothing has happened yet. So, a lot of speculation what's going on. And what has been happening for the last couple of years with Chad Gable, particularly being called Shorty G by Vince, and as you know, Vince just loved to fuck with people. That is the type of stuff Vince would do. Chad Gable has been there for quite a while, and he has busted his ass for quite a while. He has tried to make not just American Alpha mean something before, unfortunately, his partner got hurt. He's basically been going from one state to another, and it looked like they may have really finally reached the point with him where last year, near the end of the year, he really seemed to be ready for something to win against Gunther, but they didn't pull the trigger. And now, what do we have right here? Going to Clash of the Castle. Again, they have something with him, but we don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to pull the trigger and make him an IC champion or not? We don't know. But what we do know is that that contract is coming up in the next month or two, or the next couple of weeks. I don't know when it's supposed to expire. I don't remember. But it's very soon that that contract will be done, and he will be done with the company. Now, these are speculations. They do believe that he will resign soon. But that's what they thought with a Becky Lynch, and she did not resign. So it's a very big question, will he resign? And if he does resign, will it be an extension of the contract, or will it be a new contract? A lot of times what people will do now, because it's smart, they wait until near the end and wait until some offers begin to build up, like AEW, maybe TNA, maybe even an MLW or New Japan may actually ring their bell and say, hey, are you free soon? Because they got spies. Listen, guys. There are spies inside the TKO WWE, just like there are spies in TNA and spies in NWA and spies in AEW. There's always people that know something that are willing to tell something to reporters. That's just the deal. So we know what's going on with Chad and also Ricochet, because he's been pretty prominent, but then not at the same time, because he had the crappy music with the bullet shot. He had the work that Vince wanted him to do, where he would just be a spot reel. And in many cases, he never really got very far. Yes, he did work with Braun Strowman for a while, but then Braun got hurt. Now he's back, but then doesn't mean it's going to mean anything because he's working with NWO, right? No, not LW, no, NWO. LWO. Because he was on this week Raw, he helped out a Ray and Dragon Lee. He's currently working with them at the moment. But you don't know what they're going to do with Ricochet because, yes, he's been prominent. Yes, he's a highlight reel. Yes, people love him, but his contract's expiring. Now, if Ricochet loves the company, he will eventually re-sign a new contract or extension to his old contract. We know that can happen. But I'm going to be honest here. Should he resign? Should he stay? Because, yes, he's prominent, and yes, he's getting the green, he's getting this, and a lot of wrestlers want that. As much as they want to perform in front of the biggest crowds they could and show how much they love pro wrestling, they want this. And his fiancée is the ring announcer right now, so there's no way of knowing if he's going to resign. Like Chad Gable, Chad has been there for years, and he's worked very diligently. But a lot of times, he's been diligently here, like Ricochet, and only recently they come up to about here. Not here, here. Ricochet and Chad, they're here. Now, Chad might be a bit above him because of what's going on at Alpha Academy and Sami Zayn. But let's make it clear. When it comes to both of them, they're going to reach a ceiling. There's no way they're going to actually let Sami drop the title that quickly to Chad Gable. And when it comes to Ricochet, let's make it very clear. Ricochet has not done anything really substantial. The best chance he would have is the IC title, and Chad is the one who should be either gaining it or should be buried because of it. And if they're going to throw Sami a Ricochet, it's hard pressed to see if Ricochet is going to get anywhere. Ricochet, at this point, the way he's developed, is just a Raw guy that literally just does spots. Not that he can't talk. Not can he not hold a character. Not that he's not liked by and loved by the fans. He is a spot guy. That is what Chad is. Even after Vince is gone, he's still a spot guy. And he basically is enhanced talent. That is what Ricochet is. And if they're going to keep him in that spot and not really do anything for him, literally, he's like, guess who? Nick Nimitz. He's basically the new version of Dolph Ziggler. Dolph has always been known, break glass if you're in trouble. That's why you have him on the roster. And he asked for his release. Now, I did not read the article why he asked Vince for a release. But I can take a guess from what he said after release. That after all these years, he's done the same stuff. They never were going to do anything substantial with him. They're like, we're in trouble, we're breaking him out, and we use him, and then when it's done, we put him back into the glass, and that's it. That is Dolph. And now, with Ricochet, no matter if you love Ricochet, if you adore Ricochet, you say he's the best high flyer there is, or the best wrestler on the roster, he's a spot guy that's also enhanced talent. It's not what I'm saying because I hate him. I don't. This is what he's being presented as told multiple times by me to tell you that it's not just about you being loved because of the match quality. It's about you being relevant. Relevant is what wrestlers want just as much as they want money. They want to feel relevant. They don't want to just do the best matches. They want to feel important, that they've done something in the business that's made its mark, and it's not always a match that does it. Look at Triple H when he was working with Rick. At certain times, they did some incredible work. Look what happened with Rick and HBK, that last match Rick had at WrestleMania. That is memorable, not just because it was a great match. It was because of the story behind it. Pretty much Rick was Old Yeller. Of course, Old Yeller didn't die yet. And to be honest, after we now heard that Rick had a heart attack on his last Wanted match, which made him look like he was drinking, which many people do believe he was still drinking also, because guess what? Afterward, he said after he had collapsed, he thought he was just dehydrated and that was a heart attack. What did he do afterwards? What did Rick do? What the fuck did that motherfucker do? You know what he did after he seemed to be perfectly fine? He went partying with with Kid. I was about to say Chris Rock when I mean Kid Rock. He went fucking partying with Kid Rock afterward, drinking in his 70s. You get what I mean? Relevancy is what people want. So when it comes to Ricochet, he's a spot guy that's enhanced talent that can rise to the occasion when they're willing to give it to him. Chad Gable, the same thing. He's been not a spot guy, but he's basically been a good, rounded wrestler that can do storylines. Not great, but he can do them pretty well. And you can't put him in a high-profile spot, which can put someone, they really need someone over, and he can do it. So you got two guys that can do stuff. They're the contract are ending, and the question is, should they leave or not? I can't tell you the truth on what is best for them. They're going to do whatever they want. And speculation is, don't know. But that's the way it is. Let's now go to the collaboration. It's time to talk about it. Before what's going on with TNA. Before we're talking about TNA in their state of being. We are talking about this collaboration between NXT, well, TKO NXT. Let's make it clear. This is still TKO NXT working with TNA, who is owned by Anthem. Remember, let's put this in context. Both companies, WWE and not NXT, but TNA, are owned by large corporations. You heard me right. Both companies are owned by a corporation. They're not independent anymore. They used to be on their own, and they got bought up. Anthem owns TNA, which used to be Impact Wrestling, and WWE is owned originally by Ari Emanuel, originally through Endeavor, which now doesn't own it. It's TKO Group Holdings, which is TKO. This is what you got. Two corporations have decided to work together. Everyone says it's two promotions. There are no promotions. This is what people don't want to hear. TKO, Anthem, they're the promotions now. So what are we getting in a local type of situation? In other words, the ones who are running these satellite corporations. In other words, these small satellite companies, which is, in this case, you can't really say NXT is its own satellite company. It's a part of WWE. So the WWE satellite company has allowed a small portion of itself, NXT, to have a collaboration with a satellite company in a TNA from Anthem to work together. Due to the fact that TNA currently works in their streaming deal with Endeavor, that kind of probably gave a little bit of catalyst. I'm sure, but a little bit of catalyst. What started it was someone said, you know what? We got TNA working in our streaming service. In other words, they're putting their content on a streaming service. And it looks like it's actually working a little bit. Maybe we should do something about that. We should add something to it. And it went up to the chain to Ari. And then it went down through Nick Khan. It went through, now counting on how much input The Rock has currently, Dwayne. Because he's currently doing, I think, 2 movies right now. So he had to be at least notified what's going on. And maybe he gave his input. And then it came down to Triple H. And Triple H might have had the idea of saying, wait a minute. We're not doing very good when it comes to NXT. The ratings are not good, and they're going to be switching soon. Why not have HBK work with them? He's running NXT very well. He's my best friend. I love him. He's doing well. Why don't we see if he's willing to do something? So it went to HBK. He said, me working with TNA? Jordan Grace did really well when we had her at Royal Rumble. Okay. Went up the chain. They agreed. They sent a message over to Anthem, which doesn't matter if it went through the president of TNA, the guy who's currently there, who's worked 30 years in media and network. It had to also go up to the CEO of Anthem, and he said, so, Endeavor, TKO, the owner has allowed this to happen. Because that had to go back. Because it can't just be like this. It's going to have to go up the chain. There's no, it won't. If anybody says, oh no, it doesn't work like that. Bull fucking shit. We are still talking about Anthem and a small part of itself working with TKO Group Holdings, a small part of itself. There's no way the owner of Anthem and the owner of TKO Group Holdings and the Endeavor Incorporation didn't talk about it. They got to. Now, unlike JD and Alex, I am going there because that's what this is all about. We're talking about not companies that are pro wrestling. We're talking about corporations that owns companies that are pro wrestling. That they're not even real pro wrestling companies anymore. They are holding material from these corporations. They're not really pro wrestling companies anymore. They're not. No matter what it comes down to, they're not. So they're going to work that way. Now, will this work? Because look what happened with Brooks Jensen. He went on this, because I didn't see it. I did see the X, though. I did hear what was stated. I did see the X. So don't ask me, did you see it? I did see his X tweet. I did see it. Now, I also saw what happened when it was shown during the break, when he got pissed off at Booker T and Vic Joseph. I did see that as well. Now, let's make this clear. I don't know if he's going to be working with NXT anymore. He probably will. But I'm not definitely going to tell you that he's going to go to TNA. I can't tell you that. As much as everyone's marking out and saying we need main roster people to work with TNA, motherfucker, you're not getting that. The only way you're going to get any of the main roster that is going to even work with TNA will be the ones that's been working for NXT. That means the OC, that means Michin, that means maybe Shayna Baszler, maybe Natalya, maybe. Those are the main names that have been working on NXT at this moment. Those are it. And then basically the NXT crowd themselves. So I can't tell you, you're going to get main roster. They're not going to do it. Look what happened on NXT. Wouldn't it have been more interesting to have Jordan Grace close the show with basically Taylor? I believe her name is Taylor. But wouldn't it have been better for her to close the show? No. She opened the show. That shows that this is an important part, but not something so important that they'll close the show for another wrestler from another company. No, not going to happen. So they did it in the beginning. So the way it looks at this moment, and I can't tell you what's going on. Things can still change. Maybe they will bring roster members that are not currently been going back and forth from NXT to the regular roster, Raw, SmackDown. Maybe they will bring them. I can't tell you. I'm not going to mark out and start imagining it. I'm not doing any booking the wrestlers. If anybody says, dude, you should do a booking the wrestlers, no fucking way. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do a booking the wrestler. Not unless like 100 people ask for it. And even then, I'll have to consider it because that kind of stuff easily skews your understanding what's going on here. This is not about WWE working with TNA and it's a new era. No, these are two damn corporations working with each other, letting their smallest part of their company work with each other. That's what this is. And it's mainly about this. And there's no guarantee it's going to help. And I will be getting to TNA in a minute because we are still dealing with people who are working in TNA who may be controlled by a parent company. How are they doing? But I can't tell you if Jensen's going to go there. I can't tell you if Shayna Baszler is going to go. I don't know if Moose is going to come over. I don't know if, unfortunately, Motor City Machine Guns are not there. It would have been better if they did. ABC is there, so maybe they'll do it. I'm hoping they will not send the Good Hands. Not saying the Good Hands are bad wrestlers. They're not. But they're not any prominent storylines. They've never really been prominently cared about. Jake Something would be interesting. Not Cody Deaner, but you never know. And I know there's one person that had been screaming for, I have to say it because I know he wants to hear it. Johnny Swinger. No. I'm sorry. They will not send Johnny. If they did send Johnny, that would be a big mistake. I know you don't want to hear that, but I'm going to say it to you. If you make a comment on this video, you say, why are you saying no Johnny Swinger? Listen to me. We are talking about trying to do something that will be a collaboration that will bring in a lot of eyes to NXT. That's what it's mainly being here. Until we see more that's going to be on Impact Zone and TNA, They're only focusing on NXT. And if you bring Johnny Swinger there, that is a joke. And I'm going to say, I know she's going to say, that's the reason why. No, they're not going to go there. They're not going to send the most stupidest, and that's in their point of view. I know Johnny is a comedic wrestler, but in their eyes, if Johnny was still on the roster, and TNA did send him, and they asked for a really great wrestler that could really spotlight himself and the company, if they send Johnny, and they don't tell him that he's a comedic wrestler, it would be a big fucking joke that will piss off HBK, and that will hurt the collaboration. I'm sorry. I am being honest here as someone who's been watching both products for over a decade. WWE, TKO WWE, will not accept the worst wrestlers they have in their eyes. And Johnny Swinger is a good wrestler. He's a good comedic wrestler, but he's not a great wrestler, and he's not the best comedic wrestler you've ever seen. They want the best. And it's got to be someone that's important. Now, if they change their mind and they do get someone like, let's say, Cody Deaner, or like PCO, in those type of situations, it's going to have to be in a situation where it has to mean something for the stories in NXT. It's got to. Because if they're not doing it, it's not going to work, so they will not send them. Unless they want a spot fest, like from PCO. And Cody Deaner, they want to try and really hype up the fans. And as much as you're going to say, dude, Johnny Swinger, no. He is a niche comedic wrestler that can have his moments, but he's not going to be more than Cody at this moment, because Cody is over because of how well he's been restructured, because he worked with Violence by Design, he worked with the design, then he's now found a way to be able to reach the fans to get them to be interested, and Johnny's just not like that. He's not built that way, no matter how much you want to hear it. Now, don't know how long collaboration is going to last, but now here's where we have to get to the end of this story. The state of TNA. Guys, as much as you guys love TNA, I saw one guy who left multiple messages saying, I love TNA, I love TNA, I love TNA. You love the company, but do you actually believe that this is going to help the company in the long run? Because as I said it, and I'll say it again, we went through AEW, we got Kenny Omega, we got Kenny Omega coming over. We got Christian Cage coming over. We got Matt Hardy coming over. But who do we have that went on the mainline regular shows that meant anything? Just checking my watch to give you time. None. What did we get? We got Moose that went to one of their pay-per-views. And then more than a year, or maybe at least a year and a half later, the Motor City Machine Guns showed up on AEW Dynamite, which Tony Khan did talk about a few days ago, but was not representing TNA. Was not representing, or in that time, Impact Wrestling, because they were still Impact at the time, but they were not mentioned as Impact. AEW refused to even say they were from Impact Wrestling. They said they're just the Motor City Machine Guns. They had to play heels, which they normally don't, and they had to basically sell their asses off. And JD looked at them like they were nothing but clowns. He said, I don't know who the hell they are. I know they've been on Impact Wrestling. They sucked. That's what he said. So we've been burnt already. We had some of the people go over here, but nothing over there. Now, as I said, what will we get at the end of this is the big question, because eventually the collaboration will end. Will TNA be in a better position? Now, we just lost not one person from TNA's management. We lost, the first person that we lost was D'Angeli. Now, he was the director of marketing. And he also knew Scott D'Amore, from what I understand. And he had been there for quite a while. He wasn't some person that hadn't been there for a while. He'd been there for quite a while. The second person was R.D. Evans. He was a member of Creative. Since now we don't have Scott D'Amore, we've only had the people who have been in Creative. And right now, he's gone too. He's gone. And then Dave Salaya. I believe his name is Salaya. I'm mispronouncing it. Saladia, I believe. I'm sorry, I'm bad with names. I'm sorry. You can go look up some. There is still a few articles that are about this situation. but he was a member of production. So you lost a person from marketing, one person from creative, and one person from production. They have not talked about who they're going to replace them with yet. And now, while this is going on, you're going to have, supposedly, Jordan Grace, maybe a possible Moose, maybe the basic ABC, or any other person they think might be useful, maybe Marshall Slamovich, maybe Rosemary, any one of the roster of TNA may go over to NXT, and counting on if NXT is going to send people counting, no matter what the fuck you say. We still do not know if NXT is going to send people over there. They're teasing it, yes, with Briggs Jensen. They're teasing it possibly with Grayson Waller, maybe a Natalya because they teased her as well. We don't know, have no clue if this is going to happen or not. And even if it did happen, the big question here, and you better hear my words because I'll leave it in the comments. What does TNA gain when it's over? What is TNA's state going to be afterwards? Because remember, guys, when it came to Scott D'Amore, something happened from maybe January or December when he spoke to the CEO Anthem. They did not mesh. Something happened between them. Something, because nothing has come out yet saying any accusation of any wrongdoings by him. Everyone loved him. He didn't disrespect anybody. He managed to keep a lot of talent on the damn roster because of him. Moose re-signed when he could have left because of Scott. So we don't know what happened between Scott and the CEO of Anthem, but they didn't agree with each other. And Scott, again, once before, he tried to buy the company when Dixie Carter was about to get it and the Carter family. And he failed. Again, he does it again. He tries to give a really good offer. Now, you don't know what a really good offer could be. From a reputable firm, banking firm, he probably got maybe, what, $40 million, $50 million, or $30 million for TNA to be bought. You never know how much it's fully worth. It's not worth a huge amount of money. It could be worth $100 million, but in the market right now, maybe he was able to get 40 or 50 or $30 million, which was the market value for the company, and offered it to Anthem, which was a fair, actually considered offer, and they said no, and look what happened after that. When the offer was rejected, he's fired. Now, these three guys knew him and worked with him for years, and now they're gone. And the question now is this, with the new president there who doesn't give a real direction like a Scott would, or maybe, let me give it to you like this. Let's say Triple H is no longer working with WWE TKO. And they tried to hire him years ago. Let's say it was 5 years ago. Triple H, when he was running Black and Gold. No, 7 years ago, when he was running Black and Gold. They fired him. But TNA, or Impact at the time, picked him up as their president. And he ran it like it would have been NXT. But then, after it being some type of difference with the CEO of Anthem, he's fired again. He tried to buy it, but could not. So he's gone. So that means the person who was the leader that focused what direction the company should be in is gone. And that is a huge blow. That's what we got with Scott. Now, production, I won't lie to you, for the last month or two, easily 2 months, production is better. Audio's been better. Lighting's been okay. Wrestling's been alright. Storylines has been very like this. As much as you don't want to hear it, I'm being honest because I've watched this product for now a very long time, and I have reviewed it for a very long time. I've seen it go up and it's gone down, and right now it's somewhere like this. It's fluctuating. It hasn't been all great. Some have been good, some have been bad, some are just mediocre. It fluctuates. So what will we gain from this collaboration? Will we actually get more writers to come in? Will we get someone new and creative to come in? Because they need a creative now, because one of them is gone. Evans is gone. He was part of creative. They need someone new. Production. Person who's been there from a very long time. Not saying that he did a great job or not. Are they going to get someone new for production? Are they going to get someone new for marketing? Are they going to go live? One of the major issues TNA has, and guess what? JD and Alex and even Jesse stopped reviewing TNA. He got tired of It's boredom. Next to his son getting sick, he hasn't done a TNA review unless he started again. He has done no TNA reviews for months. Nothing. I'm one of the few people who still do TNA predominantly. I know what I'm dealing with. But will they go live? If they don't go permanently live eventually, they're screwed. If they don't change the way they write, they're screwed. If they don't really make this feel important and not always feel like this, they're screwed like they were with AEW, because AEW never collaborated with them correctly. They didn't let any of their talent show up on AEW TV. Nothing. It was all one-sided, and even though JD thought, oh, Impact Wrestling got all of this, and what did they get? What did they do? Nothing with it. Well, guess what? Collaboration means that if you're collaborating, it's got to be both ways to make it mean something, and Impact Wrestling didn't get it. They only got one thing, one way. They didn't have it the other way other than one pay-per-view and one match where their wrestlers that were known couldn't even be mentioned as their wrestlers. So you guys got to understand the situation. As fun as it is to imagine what's going to happen if Natalya or if Becky Lynch was still working for WWE, she would be there. Or a Charlotte would be there. Or anyone else. Or Rhea Ripley. Guys, it means nothing if there is going... I'm getting angry here. I'm getting angry. You know why? Because we've been through this before. How many collaborations has Impact Wrestling have with Noah, Border City Wrestling, Dragon Gate, AAA, New Japan Pro Wrestling, now AEW, and now TKO WWE, where always it feels one-sided. One-sided, either because the other company didn't want to do it, or TNA themselves, or in the case Impact Wrestling, did not want to go that far with it and making the collaboration be visible correctly. Now, at one point they did some good collaboration with New Japan Pro Wrestling, or Pro Wrestling Noah, where you were able to see what was going on, and they were able to at least acknowledge the other's pay-per-view and talk about it, even show snippets of it. We never get anywhere. If they don't change after this collaboration, go live, bring in more people for production, for creative, and the most important, bring in more high-named wrestlers, no matter if they're female or male. They still have the core wrestlers they have. They need to change this. They need to spend this. They need to spend it. And from what I understand from the CEO, from the rumors, he didn't want to spend any more money that was needed. If they don't do that, then TNA means nothing. This was a joke. And guess what? If that happens and TNA's ratings and its market share doesn't go up, the production doesn't go up, the bringing in new people doesn't happen, the writing still seems the same, I'm going to chew the fuck out of them. I'm going to tell you that all that hype, all of that, let's work together, and everyone's saying, oh, I can't wait to see this, and you don't see any change from TNA afterward, I'm going to say, what did you get? What did I tell you? What did you get? Nothing. What did I tell you? Exactly what I'm telling you now. That TNA, if they don't change or gain something from this, what was the point of it? Guess what? You know what the point was? To make WWE, well, TKO WWE, look great and get more of this while TNA gains nothing. I'm just saying. Here is my Gump Report. I hope you enjoyed this. It should go up before Dynamite. Peace.